Emergency crews are continuing their search for an 18-year-old believed to have been swept away by floodwaters following a round of intense storms that drenched the region late Monday. Agusto Gutierre was caught in heavy rain when his vehicle became submerged in rising water. Authorities later found the car stuck beneath a bridge in a drainage channel near Travis and Wilson Street, according to the Eagle Pass Police Department. Drone units have been deployed as part of the ongoing search effort, combing the area for any sign of Gutierrez. The incident comes after 2 waves of storms brought between 3 to 5 inches of rain to the area. Viewer-submitted video shows floodwaters surging through streets and low-lying areas. Eagle Pass police officials said the search continues Friday with the assistance of DPS Marine units, some military personnel, EPPD drones, and officers on foot in the drainage system that leads into the river. Gutierrez's entire family has joined the search. They are asking for any and all help. Due to the intense storm that occurred Thursday afternoon, which left an accumulated 4.5 inches of rain in just a few hours, the Mexican Army and the National Guard activated the DN3E plan in coordination with civil protection, firefighters, public safety, and various municipal departments. The rains began around 4 p.m., causing flooding, fallen trees, stranded vehicles, and damage to homes in more than 30 neighborhoods, including Argentinas, Periodistas, Esfuerzo Nacional, Villa de Fuente, Precedentes, Infonavit, Buenos Aires, Delicias, and Malvinas. In response, more than 20 teams were deployed, comprised of personnel from various municipal agencies and federal corporations. According to official reports, the El Soldado stream reached its maximum level, posing no danger. Several roads were temporarily closed, including Fausto Z, Martinez, Lázaro Cárdenas, the Perez-Trevino bypass, Mar Muerto, and the 1850 overpass to prevent incidents due to severe flooding. A shelter has been set up in the San Felipe neighborhood, housing a total of 19 people. If necessary, the Santiago V. Gonzalez Auditorium will be opened as an additional shelter. For its part, the Coahuila State Government, through its various departments, activated preventive and rapid response protocols in response to the storm that affected Piedras Negras and other municipalities in the Northern and Carbonífera Regions. Since the early hours of the day, and based on reports from the state civil protection, state police forces, under the instructions of Governor Manolo Jiménez Salinas, remained on alert, deploying surveillance and support operations in vulnerable areas. Security forces, civil protection, and firefighters provided assistance to families affected by floodwaters in their homes, carrying out preventive evacuations and ensuring their well-being. Various sectors were visited to provide direct assistance, protect the safety of citizens, and ensure order during the meteorological phenomenon. In response to the storm that hit Piedras Negras and other municipalities in the Northern and Carbonífera regions of Coahuila this Thursday, the state government immediately activated preventive and rapid response protocols through its various agencies. From the early hours of the day, the State Civil Protection Department issued reports on the situation, which allowed state corporations, under instructions from Governor Manolo Jiménez Salinas, to remain on alert and coordinate surveillance and assistance operations with federal and municipal institutions in vulnerable areas. Law enforcement agencies, civil protection, and firefighters provided support to families affected by floodwaters in their homes, carrying out preventive evacuations and ensuring their well-being. They also visited various areas to provide direct assistance to residents, protect their safety, and maintain order during the weather phenomenon. With these actions, the government of Coahuila reaffirms its commitment to the population, ensuring safety, health, well-being, and social support in critical times. Despite the large amounts of water left by the heavy rains recorded on Thursday afternoon, the various local hospitals reported minimal damage. Therefore, services were provided as usual on Friday. In the case of the General Hospital of Zone Number 11 of the Mexican Social Security Institute, IMSS, in Piedras Negras, there were some leaks, damp ceilings, and leaks through the windows. But the hospital remained operational and even completed scheduled consultations and surgeries on Thursday, according to staff at the aforementioned health institution. In general terms, IMSS Family Medicine Unit Number 79 in Piedras Negras, like HGZ Number 11, reported that small puddles and some dirt were reported. However, everything is operating relatively calmly and normally. It's worth mentioning that all power supply services were cut off due to the emergency. As part of preventive protocols, power cuts were lowered. However, they were reconnected this Friday and are operating normally. Meanwhile, in the case of the Clinic Hospital of the Institute of Social Security and Services for State Workers, ISSSTE, in Piedras Negras, no incidents were reported and operations are proceeding normally. At the Dr. Salvador Chavarria Sanchez General Hospital, it was reported that only a small amount of water entered through some of the windows and the emergency room door. However, no damage was reported to the rest of the facility. Mayor Jacobo Rodriguez said more than 20 neighborhoods were affected, primarily El Eden, Vista Hermosa, Villa de Fuente, and Villas del Carmen. The director of the Water and Sanitation System, Lorenzo Manera, indicated that the Escondido River had considerably increased its speed and water level, and although runoff from the Zaragoza Mountains was expected, authorities did not consider it a major risk to the population. The shelter located at the fire station, with a capacity for 100 people, was open due to many families complaining about water entering their homes and collapsed drainage systems in several areas. However, the opening of additional shelters will be determined in the coming hours. Among the incidents, the train collided with a vehicle that was stuck on the tracks. The occupants managed to escape, so no injuries were reported. Minutes later, a personnel carrier also became stuck at the same location. Security and emergency services responded to several incidents where vehicles were swept away by the current, which turned main roads into rivers and managed to safely rescue the occupants. Cleanup work is expected to begin in some of the affected areas in the coming hours, and several roads have been closed to traffic.
With this shit, look at that.
Meanwhile, a car accident that occurred alongside the storm that hit Piedras Negras was reported to the public ministry, and Hector Fabian N., 22, was arrested after several people, including 2 pregnant women, were hospitalized. The initial report indicates that Hector was driving a GMC Terrain and rear-ended a Jeep driven by Sandra Patricia Cortez and a Ford Maverick driven by Raul Francisco Macias, allegedly due to a mechanical failure in the vehicle's brakes. The passengers in the vehicle responsible, Samantha Alejandra, 35 years old and pregnant, were taken to a hospital along with Juan Gerardo N., 4 years old, for a medical evaluation and are reported to be in recovery. Sandra and her companion, Lisbeth Nayeli de la Cerda, who were traveling in the Jeep, along with Melissa and Mariana Muro, the latter also pregnant, who were traveling in the Ford Maverick, were taken to a hospital for evaluation. The Attorney General's office, Rigoberto Raul Rodriguez Rios, said that the inclement weather caused the accident, which left several people injured and 1 person taken into custody by the public prosecutor's office. The investigation is currently underway, and the detainee's legal status will be determined in the coming hours. Furthermore, a compensation agreement could be reached between the parties involved, which could lead to his release.